I'm CK. Today we've got another soldering kit, practice kit with RGB LEDs and playing around with those. So we'll take it out, see what we can learn from it, put it together, and I hope you enjoy the video. Here's the bag from Banrai, B-A-N-R-I-A. I've never heard of them before, not unusual. Let's see what we got in the bag, if we can open it up. We can. Let's take out the circuit board first. It's a little flower. This is the back. So, looks like we've got a switch here. Haiku. Hi, and then an infinity sign, maybe. Whatever. HE036. Looks like we got a chip there. Looks like we got a power connector there, I'm going to guess. And then on the other side, we've got red, blue, green LEDs, and one full-feature RGB LED. Then here we've got a bunch of switches, and we'll talk about that in a minute once I look at the piece of paper and see what that all means. So let's see. Function. RGB color lamp color mixing. Dip switch adjustment. So it looks like we've got, all these are switches. We've got dimmer dip switches. We've got a microcontroller on the back, a power switch, and input power as we thought. After assembly, power it on. Use the dip switches to adjust the brightness of the corresponding monochrome color. Each row of dip switches represents the BCD code values for red with 8, 4, 2, and 1 keys. Adjust the brightness level of the 3 monochrome colors to create different color combinations. BCD, which if you're an old programmer like me, you know means binary coded decimal, a somewhat obsolete form of specifying numbers. Geez, I think the last time I used it was writing a process control piece of software back in 1985 for an aircraft fuel pump test rig. That's the last time I touched BCD, so that's, I'm trying to count, 95, 2005, 2015. That's almost 40 years ago that I last used BCD. Okay, so let's take a look and see what else, if the pictures are good. So the RGB LEDs are somewhat surface mounty. The switches are all through hole. And then that's it. Okay. Let's dump out the componentry. Take a look at that. First we've got yet another USB, but this is at least USB to USB-C. I appreciate that. I'm glad they're all starting to do that. And I'm going to sneeze, so we're going to have a camera skip here in a minute. Got rid of that out of my system. Not a lot to solder. It'd be real quick to put together. It's okay. And we've got, oh, it's an STC microcontroller. It's probably programmed. I'm going to assume it's programmed. The challenge is it doesn't have a dot of paint or some highlighter on it indicating that. Then we've got the LEDs. And they're all the same, so I guess they must be individually, maybe they're marked on the back. We'll see when we bust them out. We've got a bunch of switches to set the brightness of each color and some standoffs to make it stand up. And that, my droogs, is it. And here's the power connector, USB connector. That'll be pretty simple. And that is it. So I'll get the soldering iron heated up and we'll put this fella together real quick. And we would like to do the LEDs first. And there is a notch. It says there's a notch. There's not really a notch. There's a indicator for where the cathode goes. But we'll take this out. Let me get a different. I think these are all 3-color LEDs. And what I think is going to happen is I am fortunately not going to drop any on the floor. Even though these are pretty big, I probably would be able to find them. What I think is going to happen is as we set the switches, it'll set the brightness on the individual ones, and it'll sum it here to this one, which will be the multicolor, all-together color. I think, don't know for sure, but I think it's a reasonable assumption. And my coffee's not warm anymore. Let me get my tweezers out because we're doing surface mount. And I'm gonna look at the LEDs. Now, on the LEDs, let me put it there. I'm gonna zoom on in and move over this way a little bit. There is a little notch on the corner here, and there's a notch on the outline. So that's what we'll be lining up. That's really convenient. I'm going to back off a little bit again, just so I don't get, it doesn't, never mind why I was going to do it. I can't give you a good explanation. My mind was just spinning out letters. So since these are surface mount, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little dab of solder on each of the pads. One pad of each of the LEDs. Now we're going to take our tweezers, we're going to pick it up, and we've got the notch going to where the notch is, and I'm going to put I'll get my head in the shot for a second, which is why I wear a hat so you can't see my thinning hair. And we're going to heat up that little glob of solder that we had there, and that fixes it on so we can proceed. Hand surface mount is easier than you might at first think when you get into it. I'm going to seat all of them, and I keep putting my head in because I want to make sure that I am aligned with the pads. So when I go to solder everything else, it'll be all lined up. So I get my head in again and heat the solder up, slide it over onto it. There, it's firmly affixed. Come on, flip over. No, don't flip over twice. Just flip over, silly thing. You're driving me crazy. Got an audience waiting on you. Millions of people are waiting to see this LED go on. Not really, since I get about a couple of hundred views on most kits. Would like more, but you know, that's the way it goes. Things grow slowly in the world. Oops, I about bunged that one up a little bit. There we go. Now, I'll go to the other side of things and just solder. Going to the other side because I don't want to mess up the one I already have in place. The only thing that's a challenge is because these leads are so close to the body of the LED, you can't be 100% certain that you've got them affixed properly. But I think I am. Just keep your soldering iron tip clean. Oops, that globbed up on me. Now do the remaining one on each of these so I don't forget. And probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to resolder the pad I did initially just to make sure that that is all firmly affixed. Okay, I think, oh, almost forgot this one. That would have been, I would have been sad. Okay. So that's the LEDs. As you saw, they're surface mount, but pretty easy to put on. Let me put my tweezers away. Now step 2, we're going to put the USB power connector on. Where is it? You can tell it's a power connector because, oops, that's a switch. Where did the power connector go? There it is. You can tell it's a power connector because it's only got 2 pins. It doesn't have 4 pins, so it's not doing any communication. And interestingly, on the board, you'll notice there are 3 pin holes. I guess they were hedging their bets on which manufacturer they bought. This doesn't fit. Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to get this to... Oh, I'm putting it in the wrong place because I'm an idiot. I'm supposed to put it back here. I was trying to fit it into the switch position, and that trick won't work. Don't get much solder on those. Looks like they're all good, but I can't be absolutely certain. Now we're going to take the angled switch, and the angled switch will be our on-off switch. Going in here where I was trying to put the other one. That's got enough pins. Okay, I'm going to put that on, and I'm not sure it's flat, so I'm going to press on it with my index finger and reheat that leg just to make sure, and it is. It's all flat. Now, we're going to put all the switches on. So it doesn't much matter which way they go. The slider will work any old way. I'm going to put them all on. They're all on, and it looks like they gave us a spare just in case. Now I'm going to take a little card, flip it like that, keeping them up, and I messed it up. I didn't go smoothly. Quick camera skip or speed up while I pick the one up from the floor and the one that went into my shop shoes. And we'll try that again. Oops, I bent a pin. Okay, we'll try that again. Put the card on there. Flip it completely over. There we go. Now it's a little up there, so I'm going to put a little piece of foam, if I can find a good thickness, to support that. That will work really well. Get a little bit more solder because there's a bunch of connections here. And we'll solder these all down. I'll speed through this. And that's all the switches. They all look pretty good. Next, we're going to put the socket on, and as we can see from the instructions, the socket will go on the back, not on the front. And you'll notice there's a notch on the circuit board. It'll go match the notch on the socket. These pins straight. Trying to see if the pins are straight. Reasonably straight. There we go. Don't need that. Put that on the board. Get my little piece of foam again, because nothing is fixed yet. And now for this one, I'm going to solder one pin, then lift it up, take a look. It's not completely flat, so again I'm going to push on it and reheat that. Now it's all good and I can get rid of the foam again. And all these pins is the IC on the board. Now we're going to install it, just because I don't see any reason to wait. I'm pressing the pins in a little bit on the side of my workbench. Now I'm going to be matching the notch, and this doesn't have a notch. It has a little, actually it has a notch and a dot indicating pin 1. Why do I keep moving out from the center of the camera frame? I don't know. Set that in there, push it firmly down. That's in. All pins are in. No pins appear bent. Next will be the final piece. Let me get a little screwdriver and turn off my soldering iron, because we're done with that. We're going to put screw through here. Grab one of these brass standoffs. Actually, I should do it the correct way, shouldn't I? Not backwards. Oh, I was doing it. No, I'm sorry, now I'm confusing myself. You want the spacer on the side with the microprocessor. And I kept confusing myself right there, which is never good. Even though if it was too terrible, I wouldn't be around, since I'm often confused. So that's a little stand, so it stands up by itself. And now I'm going to go ahead and plug this thing in. I'll get my power supply a little bit closer. I rearranged this last night. I'm not sure I did the right thing, but it's okay. Give it a try. Okay, let me make sure the power appears to be off. Got the switch in what I think is the off position. We'll plug in the connector. I'm going to set all the switches to the right, which should be off. I'm going to turn off this light. And now we'll turn this thing on. And we've got a little bit, oh, because I've got one on the blue. I didn't turn them all off. So as you can see, I'm going to go turn another light, turn my other light off so possibly we can see this better. So you can see right now we've got the value 1. I'll zoom in just a touch more. That's about what we're going to do. If I turn that off, we got nothing. 1 for blue, make it brighter. Turn on 4, turn on 8, and that's full power. So let's take it back down. Check on the green color, check on the red color. They're all working. So now we can turn a little bit of blue on and a little bit of green, and you see the color there is now a blend of both, and a little bit of red. You can see the color change to get that there. Now I'm going to make this, took the green out and it's more magenta. Now I'm going to put a very strong green in, and it almost wipes everything else out. So I'm going to take the other two low ones out and put them in at a moderate level. Now I'm going to power green all the way up, green with all its switches on. And that really blares away there, doesn't it? It's almost white. I'm going to take all the red out. So that's blue-green now. Give me a little more blue to it. A little more, take a little bit of that blue out. So as you can see, we're experimenting with different levels. That turned it white because all the colors are very, very strong. Now I'll take some of the green out, little mauve, take a little bit more of the green out, little lavender, more of the green out, more of the purple, and all of the green out and almost completely purple. Let me turn blue up a little bit more. I'm going to turn blue and red all the way up. So that's what it is with them all the way up. So as you can see, it's good instruction. This is really a good little kit for learning how colors interact and how, for crying out loud, this is how your flat screen LED TV works. This is how your smartphone screen works, by just having red, green, and blue LEDs all together on the board, and the blending of them is what gives you colors. And this is only BCD up to I think 16 or 32, I forget. So you can't get a lot of variation on your smartphone or on a LCD television or LED television. The range of variations you can get is much more complete. But this is a very good learning kit for that. I like this kit quite a bit. I'm going to take all the green back out and we'll just be all blue. Now we'll fade the blue away. And that's it. And I'm going to turn it off. And that was a fun little kit, wasn't it? Easy to put together, even though if you haven't done surface mount, you want to take a little bit of time with these LEDs, but the rest of it went together very quickly, and again, it's a very good learning kit. Kudos to these folks. This is a good kit. And I hope you enjoyed the video.